Welcome to the Steinlager USA Club Rugby Championships from Inglewood, Colorado. And good afternoon, everybody. I'm Drew Goodman. Rugby, a very, very popular sport in New Zealand, in England, in Australia, and it is rapidly growing here in the United States. As a matter of fact, there are over 3,000 clubs in the country and over 150,000 participants. And today we'll see the national championship game between Ambach Rugby Club of San Diego. They won the national championship a year ago, and they will take on a team from Philadelphia, Rugby Club from Philadelphia, Philadelphia-Whitemarsh. Joining me in the booth, and thankfully I do have somebody who knows a whole lot about this sport in the booth. He's the head coach from the University of Arizona, Dave Sitton. And to a first-time viewer, Dave, what should they be looking for?
Well, I think that obviously looking for some of the similarities between rugby and American football. After all, rugby begat that gridiron game, and quite frankly, it's a game, two teams trying to score touchdowns. Just slightly different technique, Drew.
And slightly different terminology. We'll get to that. Let's talk about some of the individuals to look for on both clubs today. A lot of national participants.
Well, there are. As a matter of fact, this Ambach squad, which returns, as you mentioned, the defending national champion, has several players that have represented the United States on an international level. Most notably, Mike Saunders, who captained the United States team, and his teammate, Brian Vizard. They play together in an interesting and complex weave between forwards and backs. There's an interesting link between the linemen, if you will, in rugby and the backs. And the two of them played together not only for Ambach, but as well for the United States. Butch Horwath for Philadelphia-Whitemarsh is a great leader. He's led the Eagles when he's played for the United States national team, and he bolsters that excellent pack for Philadelphia.
It should be a lot of fun today. I'm looking forward to it.
I think everybody is, Drew. You know, you get, as you mentioned, there's so many clubs out there, 2,000 clubs, and for these two to make it to the Final Four and then to the Final Two, it's quite an honor, and I think the players are excited. I think everybody at home is going to have a good time watching this today.
If you like football, it has the physical element. If you like soccer, it is fast-paced as well, and we'll also tell you in a little while that it has origins back to basketball. All that coming up after this, but first, the starting lineups when we return. For a closer look at the rules of rugby, let's go down to my partner, Dave Sitton. Dave?
The object of the game is pretty plain. It's to score touchdowns. A little bit different technique than its American football cousin. Rugby has two teams of 15, 8 forwards and 7 backs. All have the same eligibility. The idea is to run the ball forward, pass it to someone else who can run it forward, or kick it forward. Now, scoring is for touchdowns. The touchdown in rugby is called a try, and it's worth 4 points. The conversion after the try, kicked from a point perpendicular to the point where the try was actually touched down, is worth 2 points. There are 2 ways to score kicking in rugby. One is a penalty goal. Rugby developed the concept of the H goalpost. Kick the ball through the goalpost if your kicker can. And of course, rugby still holds on and holds dear the drop kick. Any player at any time can kick the ball through the goalpost for 3 points. There are several variations of the game. First is the infamous scrum. The 2 sets of forwards working against one another trying to determine possession. 8 forwards against 8 forwards pushing, somewhat like a face-off in ice hockey. The line-out is when the ball is returned to play after it goes out of bounds. The team that didn't put it out gets to put it down this tunnel, although they must put it straight down the tunnel. A couple of infractions include the knock-on. You can't bat the ball forward with your hands, nor can you pass it forward. In either instance, play is restarted with a scrum. And as far as anything really naughty, there's offsides and a dangerous play. In either instance, the referee can award a penalty kick. The team that did not commit the offense will have the option of kicking the ball through the goalpost or kicking it down the field for field position. And Drew, that's a very basic look at this game, rugby union football.
In rugby, there are 15 men on a side, and you're only allowed 2 injury substitutions. 40-minute halves, 5-minute intermission. They get right after it in a hurry. Let's show you the starting lineups, and we'll do it numerically first. And you can't have any number you want in rugby. It's got to be 1 through 15. We'll start with the ones. They are the props. For Ambach, Chris Lippert, and for Philadelphia, Butch Horwath.
Well, Lippert and Horwath are what they call the loose head props, much like a guard in American football.
And the hookers are number 2, Dwayne Parker for Ambach and Scott Brooks for Philly.
Interesting position, hooker. It's a thankless job. It's also the predecessor of the American Football Center. They're in there trying to win the ball back for their side and get possession.
Another prop 3, Graham Down, 6'1", 215-pounder for Ambach, and Brian Sullivan for Philly.
As their name would suggest, the props are there to prop up the hooker and to protect him. They're like guards in American football.
And number 4, lock, Bill Leversey, 6'4", 235-pounder for Ambach, a big guy, and Jim Fraveleg, 6'2", 195-pounder for Philly.
There'll be a mismatch today in the locks. The locks are like American football tackles, and they also do a lot of pushing in the scrummages. And Philadelphia is a little bit light there. As you can see, Fraveleg, just 6'2", 195, and his opposite number, 6'4", 235.
Another lock, Ron Zenker, 6'4", 240-pounder for Ambach, and Joe Grahovsky is the 5-man for Philly.
Another couple locks, and again, the advantage to Ambach just on weight and size.
Flanker number 6, Rick Crevallone, 6'4", 230-pounder, a contractor when he's not on the rugby field, and Keith McLean, 6'5", 220. That's a pretty good matchup. That'll
be a good matchup, and the flankers and the number 8 are kind of like, well, tight ends in American football. There's a little bit of a linebacker in them as well, and very fast players, both Crevallone and McLean.
Other flankers at 7, Dennis Gonzalez, and for Philly, Rob Farley.
Again, a couple of good ball players, both playing college rugby, one in Tennessee and one for San Diego State.
The 8, Brian Vizard, 6'5", 212-pounder for Ambach, and the number 8, Mike Ciano for Philadelphia-Whitemarsh.
The number 8s are much like tight ends again, like their friends, the flankers. Interesting about the number 8s, they wear the name of their position on their back. They are the 8th man in the scrum and really the link with the backs.
The scrum half wears number 9, kind of like the quarterback, and 2 excellent ones for Ambach, Mike Saunders, who's on the American Eagle team, 5'8", 165-pounder. Keith Cassidy lines up at the 9 position for Philadelphia-Whitemarsh.
Identical statistics, 5'8", 165. As you mentioned, they are much like the American football quarterback.
10-man fly half, Steve Forster, 5'11", 195-pounder for Ambach, and Steve Ciano, the brother of Mike Ciano, 6'1", 190-pounder for Philly.
If it's possible, there are really, and I guess you have to make the analogy with American football for this afternoon's telecast, there is a similarity between the quarterback position for both the scrum half and the fly half, and actually they're called halfbacks together.
One of the wings, number 11, Duncan Lumsden, 5'11", 200-pounder for Ambach, and Marcus Maffei from Philly Suburban, Newtontown, actually.
Couple of wings. These are the burners. They get outside. They get them. They get these guys in a position to run, and they both can.
2 centers, Kevin Higgins and Marsh Pennington.
These guys play. They're the first of the running backs here. They're real hardcore running backs. They've also got to be headsy players. They back up the fly half.
Another center, 13, Sam Vaca. He's from Tonga, 5'10", 180-pounder for Ambach. And Bob Doherty, 6-footer, 205-pounder, originally played football at Delaware.
Probably the most demanding spot in the back line is outside center. They've got to be fast, they've got to be good runners, they've got to be hard runners, and they've got to be excellent defensive men. You really depend on your outside center to come up with the big tackle.
Another wing, number 14, John Lee, 5'11", 176-pounder. Played junior college football, plans on going to San Diego State next year. And Bill Rasich for Philly, 5'7" guy.
They're the counterparts of the left wing. These number 14 guys are on the right-hand side, and they're burners too.
And the final gentleman on the roster, the 15th man, the fullbacks. Charlie Montgomery, 6-footer, 165-pounder for Ambach, and Scott Lance, 5'11", 190-pounder for Philadelphia-Whitemarsh.
It's interesting, their number 15, they are actually the last man on defense. They play back like a free safety, but the interesting thing about these gentlemen, as you described them, they come into the line on offense as well, and both of them can be potent runners if given the chance.
All 15 guys go both ways. No substitutions like the American cousin football. You have to run at all times, and everybody, linemen would appreciate this in American football. Everybody gets to handle the football, and perhaps even somebody, one of the forwards, could score a try.
Happens all the time, Drew.
Drew Goodman along with Dave Sitton. We are set for rugby, the national championship game, the Steinlager USA Club Rugby Championships. And Whitemarsh will be as you would expect, not in the all-white. They'll be in the red. And Ombak, Old Mission Beach Athletic Club from Philadelphia, they will be in the white with the blue shorts. They'll kick it off, and we're underway. 40-minute halves, running time. The clock never stops. There'll be a 5-minute intermission. And here we see a touch right away, and we'll get a line out a little bit past the 22-meter line. And this is the first interesting difference in this game that you get to point out.
Jockeying for field position now. The line out. On back with an opportunity deep inside Philadelphia territory. And they're coming out running, that's for sure.
Moving the ball and now punted or kicked out of bounds for a touch at a little short of midfield. And again, same thing, defensive strategy in rugby. You want to get the ball away from your side of the field, so you punt it out of there.
Well, Marsh Pennington, they're realizing, even though he had the ball in his hands, that he was playing defense that far back in his territory, so he kicked it safely into touch. And there's Pennington again.
Comes out of the scrum. Ball is loose, and we have a whistle. So there'll be a touch and a line out in excellent field position for Ombak.
Well, Ombak has the field position right now, but Philadelphia with the opportunity to put the ball down the center. That's their hooker, Scott Brooks. And his mission right now is to put the ball straight down the center of that tunnel.
This is a set play very often, is it not?
Well, it is what they call their set pieces and loose pieces. And I believe they caught, the referee, Don Reardon, caught Dwayne Parker, the hooker for Ombak, offside. You can't run offside. You just can't run willy-nilly wherever you want in this game, although some people for the first time might think that is the case.
So they will get a free kick. It goes out a touch short of midfield. And Ombak will put it in play via the line out at that position.
A quick line out that time by Ombak, and good ball service from Saunders to Forrester now. And he's got Higgins open inside him. Ball tied up now in the maul. And then Ombak with that huge weight advantage. They're moving the ball off the line and moving it forward.
Now we get a whistle as the ball finally hits the ground. Difference between a maul and a ruck, and you'll hear those terms quite a bit today. A maul is when, I guess, they congregate and the gentleman with the ball is still up.
Well, exactly. It's part of the tackle play when they call them the breakdown. Let's take a look at Mike Sanders chipping ahead right now. And he finds touch up ahead. But essentially what happens in the maul when there are 3 players involved, 2 from one team, 1 from another, that constitutes a ruck or a maul. If the ball's held in the player's hands, it is a maul. If the ball goes down onto the ground, then it becomes a ruck. Otherwise, they're essentially the same play.
Philadelphia with the line out deep in their own territory.
Philadelphia doesn't want to mess around with Ombak too long down here, although another offside, excuse me.
I'm sorry, it had an offside on the white on Ombak, so another kick for Philadelphia. Philly-Whitemarsh in the red, white trunks.
Ball just does make touch, and of course at that point we'll have a line out. That's the advantage of kicking the ball from the penalty kick. You get to angle it directly out of bounds on a punt, and of course it's solely designed for field position, not unlike its friend in American football, the 4th down punt.
And the coffin corner job. One of the tall forwards inside now has, I don't know if you call them receptions, but has done a nice job handling the line out for Ombak. Ball is loose, and they call a knock-on.
They're letting the advantage run right now, Drew, and it comes out here over to Old Mission Beach. Excellent kick that time by Charlie Montgomery, the fullback for Ombak. You notice advantage. Now, you saw Kevin Higgins knock on the ball. The referee called the knock-on, but he let the play continue. That's advantage. It happens in hockey, too. And then the ball was kicked ahead to Montgomery. He delivered an excellent kick, bouncing the ball in, then into touch, and that's why it's a line out down there. Looks like Philadelphia's going to come up with possession when they finally get a hold of it.
There'll be a scrum, and Philadelphia will place it in the scrum. Now the scrum half has the responsibility of getting the ball into the scrum.
Well, by law, he has to put it right down the middle, and he has to do it promptly. What has happening here, you're basically having your lineman fight for possession. That hooker we talked about earlier in the introductions, he's in there trying to hook the ball back through his lineman in order to secure possession for the backs.
This has to be, any scrum has to be an advantage for the 8 forwards on back because of the weight. Is that correct?
Well, there's some timing plays. It's a lot more intricate than a scrum could ever look to the person watching for the first time. Ball did not make touch, and that's Montgomery on the counterattack.
And Montgomery chips it ahead now. And we'll get a maul right there.
There you got a good example of the maul. Don't be surprised if they put it on the ground, it becomes a ruck. There it is. That's Ciano.
And now chipped ahead, number 12 getting it ahead was Marsha Pennington.
And he makes a good play tying him up, and on back under severe pressure right now. That's John Lee with the ball, who finally gets it into touch.
John's a student originally from Pakistan, and he is on his way to San Diego State University to play football.
Yeah, it's interesting. Born in Pakistan, loves rugby football, and now is playing junior college football as a defensive back in Southern California.
So it'll be a line out for the red. Philadelphia-Whitemarsh were scoreless. 5:56, 5:57 into the first half. Drew Goodman along with Dave Sitton.
Ball delivered in, stolen down there by Ombach. I believe that was Bill Leversey. They call him the Chief. He's an imposing figure on the field, and he actually came across that line out, stole the ball from Philadelphia. And a penalty on Philly, so we'll have a kick. They're going to let Steve Forster. He was an All-American, Drew, out at San Diego State and a real game breaker. Outstanding player and an extraordinary punter. He was a place kicker at San Diego State as well. And look at this, Ombach's going to run.
Deep in their own territory, they want to advance the ball, and they're doing a nice job of it. Chipped ahead that time by Montgomery, the fullback. Now with the ball, 11 is Duncan Lumsden from England. And it paid off nicely. They gained about 50 or 60 meters. And they still have possession of the ball, 13 with it. John Lee trying to gather it in, can't get the handle, and now he loses it again, and it goes out into touch.
The referee, Don Reardon, is going to bring it back. It was offside on Philadelphia. The ball was being delivered by Ombach, and one of the Philadelphia players actually played or interfered with the Ombach line, and that's against the law, so there'll be a penalty kick. Now, what's interesting on that, Drew, as you see the number 8, that's Mike Ciano.
Mike Ciano's down.
Michael played football at Syracuse. The thing about Mike is you see him slowly getting up. He caught a pass for Syracuse they still remember. It was the time that Syracuse and the Orangemen upset Penn State. Well, he caught the winning touchdown pass. And out here he's playing rugby football on a cold day in Denver.
Mike Ciano also had a couple of shots at the NFL. Here's our first opportunity at points for Ombach, the kicker, Steve Forster.
He makes a living at this, parenthetically. Of course, he's amateur, but boy, he's good.
And he was very good right there. Split the uprights. That'll count for 3 points. So Ombach breaks on top at the 8-minute mark, or just there before. 32 minutes of play still left in the first half. It's 3-0. The Old Mission Beach Athletic Club and Rugby Club from San Diego. We'll come back after these messages. Now you have to move the ball out of the scrum with your feet. Now it's chipped ahead. Let's see if that pays off for Philadelphia.
That was a courageous take there by Charlie Montgomery. He was coming in. There's no fair catch like American football where you can stop and tell everybody to stay away. He had to take it and take his punishment with it. It was a fine play, and he's shaken up a little bit, I think.
Charlie Montgomery is the fullback. Fullback's wearing number 15. Charlie does stagger out of the pile a bit.
He got a good whacking right there. There's no doubt about that.
And as a matter of fact, now he's down on the field.
He'll be okay. It's amazing. Usually on a warm day, you'll see them bring out what they call the magic sponge. It'll be a bucket of water, and guys who look like they're out will be magically resuscitated and ready to play again.
How did your club do this year, University of Arizona?
We had a pretty good year. We are a young team. We play in the Pacific Coast Conference, which is, until this year, as a matter of fact, until a week ago, had won 9 of the last 10 national championships. The Air Force Academy last weekend won it. To answer your question, we went 12-6, and we're rebuilding right now.
Well, that's not bad, Coach.
I'd rather say we're reloading right now.
Reloading, okay. Scott Lance is placing it down. Now, I didn't get the penalty here. He's going to have an attempt from, 30-plus yards, I imagine, to tie this thing up at 3. What was the penalty?
It was an obstruction after Charlie Montgomery was hit. He was forced onto the ball. Philadelphia couldn't play it, and as a result, this is a major penalty against Dombach. We'll see if they can convert.
Scott Lance, 5'11", 190-pounder. Used to be a Marine. Doesn't get all of his foot into that, but it goes across.
Well, he had just enough. It's a very difficult day for the kickers today because of the wet, because of the grounds, the way they are. It's tough to get your footing, particularly for a soccer-style kicker. Good kick.
And you saw the hands from Ombach, as we look at it on replay, try to knock it down. If they could have deflected it down, it would have been like a blocked field goal attempt in American football.
Well, he hit the middle of it. I'm sure he would have liked to get some more lift, but he'll take the 3 points anytime.
And Ombach kicks it off. We have a quick whistle. 3-3 now. Ombach from San Diego, Old Mission Beach Athletic and Rugby Club, taking on Philadelphia-Whitemarsh. And they used to be 2 separate teams. They've now merged. It used to be Whitemarsh is a suburb of Philadelphia. They had a rugby club. And Philadelphia, the city, had a rugby club, and they have merged.
Pretty good merger, too, as they're into the Final Four, actually to the championship game right now. And this is what Philadelphia is going to need to do if they're going to make Ombach work hard here in the first half. Here comes the high ball delivered by Ciano.
Montgomery goes back, and he has his faculties again because he fielded that nicely and then boots it ahead.
Yeah, we're going to have a knock-on call, I believe, here. The prop, Butch Horwath, an outstanding player. He's played, as we mentioned before the ball game, for the United States team. Matter of fact, played on the World Cup squad that played in Australia. That time, as he tried to catch the ball, it went off his hands toward the goal line. That's a knock-on, and it results in a scrum. It's Mike Saunders' chip there.
This is Scott Lance, and Lance will return the favor. Ombach can't field it, and immediately tackled was a player for Ombach, and we have a ruck and now a whistle.
Well, there was a knock-on there, but you might say, well, I saw the guy drop the ball. Well, it was Kevin Higgins. He did not drop the ball toward his goal line. It was to his opponent's goal line, so it wasn't a knock-on.
Scrum half Keith Cassidy will put it into the scrum.
It really is a shame as I watch hear thunder and watch the rain come down. All of the work, they actually sold the stadium out for this event. It's a shame that because of the weather, and partly because of the disappointment of not having their home side in this national championship game, the stands aren't full right now.
Once again, 4 ways to score in rugby. The try, and that is if you place it down in the end zone or touch it down in the end zone, you have to do that. That is really where we, with American football, came up with the touchdown. That is worth 4 points. The ensuing conversion is worth 2 points. A penalty kick, and we've seen 2 of those successful today, worth 3 points. And a drop kick. We're back in the 40s and the 50s in American football. You saw that quite frequently, or at least more frequently. And the drop kick also worth 3 points. You don't see it that much in rugby, though, do you?
Well, it depends on who's doing it. A lot of teams, like with Steve Forster out there, Forster's an excellent drop goal kicker, and they set him up. That's part of their play, part of their game plan. So it really still is very much involved in the game. And it's a great way to demoralize an opponent when you can march down the field and get 3 points almost at will.
Lance, the fullback, had it and then gave it up, but they moved it forward, did Philadelphia. And these conditions, as you mentioned a moment ago, not exactly ideal for anything.
No.
Can't think of too many animals that would enjoy being outside at this point. It is hailing, and
Polar bears, they
Yeah.
love this stuff.
that's about it. The lights have been turned on here at Inglewood High School.
It's going to be interesting from this point on. And I'll tell you what, you know, these players are playing for something this afternoon. I'm impressed by the fans across the way.
Nobody's left. Nobody's headed for the undercover of the mezzanine section. I imagine that is also because there is no mezzanine
No.
section.
God bless them. Look at that. You can see the hailstones bouncing off their umbrellas. Oh, God love them. And it is coming, and we see lightning over the horizon. What a finish.
About midway through the first half, 3-3 between Ambach of San Diego in the white and Philadelphia-Whitemarsh in the red. And here, a nice run forward. Well, like in football, the 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Now they get it to the outside, chipped ahead. And Lance tried to come down with it, and it goes into touch. It'll be a line out
You know, it's
for
interesting.
Philadelphia.
Drew, I'm sorry, but what's going to happen in this situation, in a game like this where the conditions are so miserable, it's almost going to be that you want your opponent to handle the ball because they're the ones who are going to make the mistake. It's virtually impossible to maintain any type of continuity under these conditions.
Which makes field position very, very important.
Kick it down at that end and let your opponent handle it and let them make a mistake.
Tapped ahead, and it comes down to 6. That is Grevillone.
Rick, an experienced player, he came down from Portland, played for the Portland Rugby Club. He's toured Wales with the United States team. And he taking the ball at good pace that time, and a flanker picking up some good yardage.
To the outside, now dropped on the ground, and you really can tell now all the players having trouble handling the ball.
These balls are made out of a synthetic substance, and under dry conditions, they're wonderful to handle. They get like this, they're slick. They're designed that way because it won't get any heavier. The rain is actually knocking off it. Oh.
And Saunders kind of whiffed at it. And then flying out of nowhere was Vaca, Sam Vaca, the 180-pounder from Tonga originally. He's one of the centers.
Good chip ahead by John Lee, and he's putting pressure on that Whitemarsh team right now. And
if he could have touched it, I don't believe he was in the end zone. The field is 110 yards long, 75 yards wide with 20-yard end zones.
Lee's kick went into the try area. Philadelphia downed it, much like a touchback, so they started again with a 25-yard dropout, and it was Leversey who took the ball on the run.
So I'm back now, putting some pressure on deep in the zone of Philadelphia. Inside that 22-meter line.
Well, the hail's dissipating slightly, although the rain's still with us. It was interesting a moment ago, a guy like Mike Saunders in dry conditions would never, ever miss a kick like that. And it's just to give you an idea how difficult it is to play in these conditions.
Now he works it to the outside. Vaca handles it and is tackled immediately. Looks like a trap play almost in football coming back. And they're slowly, methodically moving it ahead.
This is classic Ambach rugby right now, particularly with their with the strengths in their forwards. You'll notice, Drew, as they march down the field, they're using all 15 men to carry the ball, to move it down the field. And with the number of experienced players and international players that Ambach has on their team, if they can continue this, they should be rewarded with a try anytime now.
Mike Saunders takes it out of the scrum. There's the drop kick.
There's that Steve Forster. Kick that through from 30 yards out. He's a potent weapon.
Well, if you have somebody who can drop kick and you clear it out, plenty of time to drop it through, and he does accurately. So that's 3 points, and Ambach now comes away with another lead, 6-3. Watch the drop kick and the left-hand boot, or the left foot.
He got plenty on it, and just by virtue of that kick, I'd say he's good from about 45 today. Just about hit one of the vans out there. Good positioning by Forster, helping out Montgomery. Montgomery with a little bit of a move there.
And he chips it ahead, and we'll have a line out right about midfield. Philadelphia will work the line out.
We saw Forster in a position he might not ordinarily be in, except for the weather now. Both teams having to make adjustments. You really don't want to give your opponent an opportunity to put up a ball down the field, not have it caught, have it scrambling and squiggling around down there.
Scott Brooks puts it into play. Saunders comes away and finds an opening. Mike Saunders in the open field. And he's going to go all the way for a try. Super run by Mike Saunders.
Well, you were asking a moment ago if you ever saw any 40 or 50-yard runs. There's a 45-yarder right there from the back of the scrum. This is what makes Mike such an outstanding player, taking the ball himself, instead of dishing off, finding in the opportunity. Now you see him weaving down the field. He's got one man to beat, and he does so with that nice cross step there. And he's going to go all the way, and not until touchdown. The try is awarded.
And now the conversion comes perpendicular to where you put it down. So for number 10, Steve Forster, he's going to have a very difficult angle, and he's going to bring it way out to place the ball down. This will be a difficult conversion. Only about 2 steps from the sideline, Dave.
That's a long kick. Actually, Mike had the option of crossing the line, not touching it down and moving toward the center, but he opted just to get it down and get the sure 4 points. You see they have built an extra set of goalposts. The ones to your left are the actual competitive set.
And the kick is indeed short. So 10-3, Ambach trying to win their 2nd consecutive national title. We'll come back to the halftime after this. Welcome back to intermission, the 1989 Rugby Club Championships. With me, David Archer, who is with Steinlager, who's the official sponsor of the Rugby Championships. You're the regional manager in, I guess, Texas and Colorado. Is that accurate?
That's dead right. Yeah, looking after the marketing of Steinlager here and in Texas, and coordinating the USA Rugby program.
Why the involvement with rugby?
Well, New Zealand breweries are looking to distribute and expand our marketing here in the States. Rugby is a very big game back home. We understand it very well. And rugby here is a developing sport. It is one of the fastest participating sports in the States. So with our understanding, we selected USA Rugby to sponsor and develop awareness for them and our beer.
And they sent the right guy, obviously, because you played, and you played quite well back in your back at home.
Yeah, I've been in the game for a long, long time. I started playing when I was 5. I played a lot of representative rugby back home. I retired 2 years ago, and now taking up a coaching role. And I coach senior back home and helping out here where I can.
I noticed you helped out the Denver Barbarians, you were telling me a couple weeks back.
Right, exactly. Didn't come to a hell of a lot of success yesterday, but they're playing well today. So.
When people look at rugby as compared to American football, what differences do you tell them about initially?
I think one is that it is a participant game. It's 15 guys who are playing for 80 minutes, and everybody gets to run with the ball. And that makes it really enjoyable. The scrummaging is a little bit like your defensive and offensive guys. We can't throw the ball forward. And it's probably, well, it would be just as a tactical game as your football. But I believe that it offers the spectators quite a bit because of the fast-flowing game that it is.
I think American linemen would love that, being able to handle the football.
Well, exactly. I mean, I remember not so long ago seeing an interview of one of your defensive guys, been playing the game for 11 years and they hadn't touched the ball, or maybe he touched it once. I mean, hell. No, half the fun is running with the ball. I mean, it gets your adrenaline going.
Maybe we're missing the whole boat. David,
Exactly.
Thanks very much. David Archer, who's with Steinlager. We'll come back after these messages. 10-3 Ambach, the second half about to begin. And Philadelphia in the red will kick it off to Ambach. Ambach had 2 3-point kicks after penalties. by Forster in one try. Mike Saunders, the scrum half, went about 40 yards, a nifty run for the lone try in the first half, but they'll bring it all the way back to the other end of the field.
It was offside that time on John Lee. He was just ahead of the kicker. He was caught by Don Reardon, the referee. And noticed a while ago, Philadelphia opted for a kick as opposed to a scrum on the penalty. This time, with such good field position, they're going to ask for a scrummage up front. They get it.
Is that similar to icing the puck in hockey with the call we just saw?
No, it really is an offside call, because what happens is that you can't be in front of the man who plays the ball. And Forster gave the kick, and Lee was in front of him and played it. He was against the wall.
Ball's loose. Ombach has it, and it is knocked ahead by Forster.
Good kick by Steve under pressure, going outside, fed the ball under duress. And in front of your 25-yard line, there's just a few markings on the field. In front of your 25-yard line, it's interesting, you can't punt the ball directly out of bounds. Oh, they don't shoot you or anything, but they bring the ball back to the point from where you kick it if you do. That time, he had to get the ball to touch inbounds and then roll out of bounds. And that's what he did. A good kick under pressure, and that puts Philadelphia-Whitemarsh under pressure.
The origins of rugby are quite fascinating. The sport was actually invented in England by William Webb Ellis in 1823, and he had the distinction of one day playing soccer, becoming so frustrated trying to use his feet, he blatantly picked the ball up with his hands and started running with it. And rugby evolved from that. William Webb Ellis, not thought of as a very good soccer player, I'm sure, after that, though.
Well, thank goodness he got frustrated and picked up that ball, started all this. And interestingly enough, the guy who cheated in a soccer match and invented rugby ended up being a preacher, and he's buried in France right now, and his commemorative is the Reverend William Webb Ellis. So he went straight after inventing this great game. We'll see Steve Forster trying to knock another one through. A severe angle for him, and particularly with the tough footing, his plant foot, his right foot's not going to get a very good hold.
He's 2 of 3 in penalty kicks in the first half, and that is good. So it is now 13-3. Ombach opens up a 10-point lead over Philly-Whitemarsh.
That's what a guy like Forster can do. Interesting in rugby, Drew, that there are no specialists. I mean that the guys who come on and kick have to play a position the whole time. And interestingly enough, for Ombach, Forster, their fly half is their goal kicker. The opposite for Philadelphia, they got Scott Lance, their fullback, as their goal kicker.
Sorry, I just can't see Ray Wershing making too many tackles.
No, I don't think he'd be interested in that.
Saunders returns the kick the other way, and we'll have a line out.
And they're going to go with the short line out again. We'll see what happens. There you see they get the percentage.
And across for the try. That was number 8, Mike Ciano, the original star from Syracuse. Former wide receiver, played a bit in the NFL. And Ciano with the first try for Philly. Let's pick up the replay.
All right, short line out there, trying to get some of Ombach's defenders back. They do, and Ciano just stepping in and fighting everybody else, and what great determination. He gets the ball down for the try. Mike is a graphic artist, of all things, when he's not playing rugby, and he showed some touch there, although we see somebody shaken up. I think that's Rob Farley, the flanker for Philadelphia-Whitemarsh. Played his college rugby in Tennessee. He will represent the United States team in New Zealand on the U.S. B team that's going down there a little bit later this summer. Now we have the opportunity for Scott Lance to try to knock through the conversion.
It's 13-7. Ombach leads. This could make it 13-9, and then they would be a try away, Philadelphia-Whitemarsh, from tying it up. 9 minutes, or about 8.5 minutes into this second half. Lance didn't get all of it, but good enough. It goes through. More of a line drive variety. It's now 13-9. Ombach leads, but only by 4 now. We'll come back. More second half action to follow. And the surge ahead by Ombach, and Philadelphia-Whitemarsh again in trouble. Trailing by 4 and time winding down in the second half as far as regulation is concerned.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'm impressed by Philadelphia and Ombach both. These teams, as we mentioned earlier, both played here yesterday, are enduring some horrible conditions this afternoon, and they're fighting to the very end, both of them. Ombach trying to put it away, and Philadelphia just trying to stay in it. Good defense by Philadelphia. Ombak trying to go to the weak side. Uh-oh. We have a penalty. I think it's going to be against Rob Farley. And Farley, I think, was either offside or perhaps was laying on top of the ball, thereby obstructing it from Ombak. It's a major penalty. And if Forster brings this ball out and puts it through, I think Philadelphia is in a world of trouble.
That would make the differential 7 points if he can nail it.
And that virtually put it out of reach, because even with a try and a conversion, you're talking 6 points. So with a 7-point lead, you'd be in pretty good shape.
So the grad student from Southern California who played collegiately at San Diego State will put his left foot on it in a moment. He'll have to hook it quite a bit, and I'm guessing it's probably about 25, 30 yards, somewhere in that neighborhood.
About 30, I would agree with you, Drew, and it's not an easy kick. Although on a dry day, he put this through, 15 out of 15 times. Under these conditions, his plant foot, watch his right foot. It's very difficult to plant and kick.
And it's good. He does a nice job.
That's a big kick by Steve. He has done a great deed for his club now.
16-9, Ombak with the lead, and a precious few minutes left for Philadelphia-Whitemarsh to come back. 12 points now for Forster in the game.
3 of them by penalty goals, 1 drop goal.
The only other points came on the try by Saunders on that 40-yard plus jaunt in the first half.
Well, Philadelphia's got to make the best use of their time right now. And
they'll have a line out in Ombak territory. And Scott Brooks, their hooker, will put it into play. That's worked pretty nicely. Ciano had it.
I think Mike would have been much more effective on a dry day. That's a good play. That's the type of play that Philadelphia-Whitemarsh has to use. They're a well-drilled forward pack, but of course this weather has disrupted their game. Now this is a big play. They would likely go for the points now, because that puts them back within a score, and that's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to bring Scott Lance in. It's a straight-on kick, although it's roughly 38 yards or so. And if he converts this, well, then all of a sudden his club's back within just 4 points of Ombak, and then of course a try and a conversion could put them ahead.
And they would receive the kickoff. This is straight on. He just has to kick it straight away right into your living room. Straight on.
He has just been wide.
It tailed off at the end, and they'll touch it down.
Now Ombak, they'll do 2 things. They're going to try to move the ball down the other side of the field, and they're going to use up as much time as they possibly can. Big block that time by Keith McLean. Excuse me, that was Jim Feinville. Fravelic.
You know what the problem there is? We have to be very honest. All the rain that's come into the booth kind of run the ink a little bit.
There's no ink. Yes, what we're looking at, our note sheet now is a 3-year-old's art class project. So anyway, Fravelic, Jim is a 6'2", 195-pound lock, and that's a misnomer in itself. He's basically a loose forward for Philadelphia, and a good one. And just because of circumstances, they not having the big guys, he had to move into the second row. A matter of fact, that is the same case for Joe Grachowski for Philadelphia as well. He wears number 5. He's a flanker as well, but they're doing the darnest they can for their club here this afternoon, playing a position they're really suited to play otherwise.
Trying to take it off his lid. One of the Ombak players lost the handle and was resting on his head for a while.
There's probably about 2 minutes left in this game. That's just a guess.
It's hard to tell officially because the official clock is on the field. And because of injury time, the referee at his discretion can add time to the official clock.
Just for injury. That's the only discretionary time there is in rugby.
According to our scoreboard clock, we are through 40 minutes and 20-some-odd seconds.
Offside, that's a big penalty against Philadelphia. You can't blame them for trying to get a little bit of an edge now. They're desperate to get the ball back. They got caught, and it's a kick for Forster. And this is just about going to make it impossible for Philadelphia to mount much of attack. We'll see. Late in the match. Ombak now with this big lead.
And the line out actually stolen there by Ombak, and they have nice movement. Vaca gets it to Higgins. Higgins back to Vach, and the ball's on the ground.
They're letting the advantage go. They're going to see if Philadelphia can do anything with this ball. Otherwise, they'll bring it back for a scrummage. And they're going to let it run.
Chipped ahead by Ciano. And then right back.
Oop. There's a knock on, and let's see. We have a penalty against Philadelphia. And if Forster pops this through, that will more than do it.
Foster will try to pick up his 13th, 14th, and 15th points here. Similar spot to the one he just made, but it's actually a bit easier because it's closer to the center of the field.
Yeah, this one he doesn't need to get all that torque in his body, and his plant foot, he can take a little bit more ease on it. Although sometimes for a kicker, it's like a golfer. You don't really ease up. You try to drill everyone through.
And he's got that one through nicely. And that'll do it for the game. Right as time expired, Foster knocked it through, so the final score will be 19 for Ambach, 9 for Philadelphia-Whitemarsh. So the final score from Inglewood, Colorado. The national title goes to Ambach. For the second straight year, they defeat Philly-Whitemarsh 19-9, and with the most valuable player, Dave Sitton. Dave?
Well, thank you very much, Drew. Not only am I with the most valuable player, but with his father, Fred Forster, as well. Steve and Fred Forster, the Forster family here. And I guess national championships are starting to become a regular thing. 2 years ago at San Diego State, and now on a club side with Ambach. Steve, what about it?
The other one was sweet, but I tell you, this one was a lot of fun, too, especially with the weather like this. It's a real rugby game out there.
Was there any doubt in your mind about continuing playing out here? There was lightning, thunder, there was hailstones. I mean, you really went through some adversity today.
Well, we're not playing baseball, you know. We're out here playing rugby, and, you know, they play it in all countries around the world in all kinds of weather, and, you know, as long as the lightning doesn't strike on the field, we're going to keep going.
Now, there seems to be a great deal of continuity growing up in San Diego now. Attending San Diego State, a number of your Ambach teammates you played with at San Diego State as well. Are you guys building something up between the club and the college out there?
Well, I think they should. I think it's happened at the Old Blues with Cal Berkeley, and they've got a great program going there with Cal Berkeley and the Old Blues, and San Diego State's establishing themselves as a power, and Ambach as well. And I think it's good for all kinds of clubs to get involved with the college level and keep the college level progressing and get better players continuing to play the sport on through college.
Steve, not only is it great to win a national championship, it's also a tremendous achievement to get here. What can you say about the Philadelphia team that you played here today?
Oh, they're a spectacular team. You know, they had a great game yesterday. They had a really a lot of good continuity going in the game, and they used the ball well. Their forwards really drive that ball well forward, and we tried to take them off their game today and drive the ball with our forwards, and it worked for us a little bit, and we got across the line once, but we had to rely on a few kicks to get us in the lead and keep us ahead.
Well, about you, proud papa, is he going to do it again sometime soon?
Oh, yeah, he'll do it all the time. He's been doing it since he was 10 years old. This is Stephen's 14th year of rugby, and he's probably the longest playing, youngest player in the whole of the U.S. We lost the National High School Championship in 1983 by 1 point right at the end of the game, and it wasn't Stephen's fault, but I've been very proud of him.
Well, you just keep holding the umbrella, Pop, and he'll keep winning the national championships and the MVP of this year's National Club Championship. Drew?
Hope you enjoyed it. For Dave Sitton, I'm Drew Goodman. I know I learned a lot today. Take care, everyone.